Welcome to the latest episode of the bonkers.ie podcast, where we're always on a mission to help you make the most of your hard-earned money and savings. Today, we're going to talk about all things Raisin, not the one to eat, but the savings platform that helps you get a good return on your money. You may have seen some of Raisin's advertising on TV lately, and indeed, here at bonkers.ie, we've talked about the company many times, but you may not be entirely sure about what the company does or offers. So I'm joined today by Eoghan O'Hara from Raisin, and over the next 25 minutes or so, we'll break down how Raisin's service works, its benefits, and why it's become an increasingly popular option for Irish people looking for a better return on their money. Welcome to the podcast, Eoghan, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks, Sarah.
Maybe just first, briefly for listeners, describe what it is you do at Raisin.
Okay, yeah. So as you said, my name's Eoghan O'Hara. I am the country manager for Raisin Bank Ireland. I'm based in Germany. I relocated to Germany last year, and I was looking for a job, as you can imagine, and I came across Raisin, who were looking to grow in Ireland. And I just thought the proposition of what Raisin were offering to Irish savers was really exciting. I come from a financial services background, and the idea to work for a company that's going to open up the European economic area to Irish savers was really enticing to me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm sort of responsible for the day-to-day running of the Irish platform, trying to attract new customers and get new banks on board so we can work towards, as we say, save the Irish saver.
Save the Irish saver. I like that. I might steal that at some stage
indeed.
In the future. So what is it that Raisin does? Because there's been a little bit of TV advertising of late.
Yeah.
At bonkers.ie, we've talked about Raisin a huge amount. So some listeners may be well aware of what you do. But for someone who's maybe listening for the first time and who has no idea what Raisin is, explain it to us.
Yes. Okay. Well, I might give you a bit of background on where the company came from. So we originated in 2012 in Berlin in Germany as a fintech with the idea to basically make a platform to bring European savers together and take advantage and use the benefit of the European economic area, as I mentioned. In 2012, it set up, established in Ireland in 2019. Raisin is based in Berlin, as I said. We have a banking operation, Raisin Bank, in Frankfurt, so we do hold a full banking license there. And yeah, the idea is that a customer who isn't happy with the interest rates they're getting from maybe their bank, whether it be in Ireland or Netherlands or Germany or any of our areas that we're based in, can open themselves up to number of banks around Europe in different countries and get the benefit of better interest rates from these European countries.
And I suppose that's important because we kind of have a European market for goods, but we don't really have a European market for services. And certainly here at bonkers.ie, people always complain, why can't I get a mortgage in France where it's lower? Why can't I get one in Germany where it's lower? But now what you're saying is you enable people to get, I suppose, interest rates for deposits with other banks in other European countries.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. And that's what enticed me to the company initially, was embracing the common market and allowing people who didn't have access or didn't know how to get access to better rates, very easy, straightforward, and pretty much in the palm of their hands, no matter where they are in Europe.
So you said they're easy, straightforward. So for someone who's listening, what actually is the process? Maybe just explain it to us. If someone has maybe 15 or 20 grand that they have as a lump sum, it's in an account in Ireland earning almost 0% interest, or maybe only 2% interest. What is the process for them if they want to sign up or move to Raisin?
Yeah, I think it's important to point out, first of all, we're 100% online.
Okay.
So there's no physical presence in Ireland. So a customer would either download the Raisin app onto their smartphone or tablet, or visit raisin.ie through their desktop. And it's, in my opinion, a pretty simple process. So obviously we're a bank, so you need to go through your customer. So people will have to give in details like their name, address, PPS number. And then to prove their identity, they'll have to do a video call with our ID partner. And that's a very straightforward call where you have to show your passport. After that, once you go through that process, you need to provide a proof of address, similar to like you have to do if you wanted to open an account in any of the Irish banks here. Then once you go through that process, you get what we call a Raisin Bank IBAN. I mentioned our banking function in Frankfurt. They give you your own German IBAN. We're based in Germany. And from then you've got your 15, 20 grand, as you touched on there. You can put that money into one of our partner banks on the platform. So we, at the moment, on the Irish platform specifically, have 18 partner banks from 13 countries across Europe offering over 90 savings accounts. So if Dara opens up his Raisin account and says, oh, look, I can get 3.5 from a bank in Italy or a bank in Spain, so on and so forth, you then, from your Irish bank account, or a European bank account, we call it your nominated account, would make an online transfer from that account to your Raisin bank account. And then we would then send that money to your desired bank that you've chosen our platform. Important to point out, it's all customer driven. There's no advice given. We give you the facts and figures, and you decide which bank works for you and what type of account. So we have term deposits and demand deposits, so whatever suits.
Okay, so is there a minimum or maximum amount that you can deposit?
Yeah, I'll start with minimum. That depends on the bank and the offer they have. A number of our banks will let you start saving from €1.
Okay.
So our demand deposits, which of course are available any time for the flexible saver. Some of our term deposits do come with maybe a €500 minimum up to a €30,000 minimum. So like I say, it's for a person to do their own little bit of research on the platform and figure out what suits them. In terms of maximum, we do tie it to the deposit guarantee protection limit. So in most cases, that's €100,000. It's harmonized across Europe. And the thing is there, we don't have put anyone's capital at risk. We want to keep it as safe as possible. And so we do max it out, like I said, at about 100K in most cases.
And is that per bank? So if somebody was lucky enough, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sure how many people there are, but let's say somebody had €200,000, could they put €100,000
They
into
could, of course, yeah. They could,
okay.
of course. It's an example that unfortunately I can't in
Relate
my own,
to.
I can't relate to, yeah.
Neither
But
can I.
yeah, if someone was exactly, if they had 200, 300 grand, they could put €100,000 into their first bank, another 100 into the second bank, and so on and so forth. And like I said, what that does is protect you, give you peace of mind that you're, because we appreciate that it's not a straightforward thing for an Irish person to decide to put their money in Europe somewhere.
Yes.
So we want to make that journey and just the whole setup as secure and as safe as possible for them.
And have you found that there's been maybe a bit of a hesitancy amongst Irish people compared to other countries? Almost, it's too good to be true.
Yeah. I wouldn't say against other countries. I think it's pretty common. I think it's a human instinct when you've got your nest egg to want to protect it. And anything that might, like you say, look too good to be true or be a little bit different, you might be a bit hesitant to go, to crack on with that. But yeah, I think Irish savers, certainly, we did our own little bit of research recently before the TV campaign that you just touched on there. And we found that, there was a little bit of apprehension for people moving their money across outside of Ireland. I think whether that be people with not understanding the product or what the options that are out there was one of them, but also people are being inundated with financial advice at the moment. So, and they're also being sent a lot of mails about phishing and security and being safe online. So people are probably right to be hesitant. But yeah, we're trying our best to get the word out there that there is better rates outside of Ireland, and hopefully people are starting to hear that message. I know you've done quite a bit of work on that, so thank you.
Welcome. And do you charge any fees or commissions?
No,
Is
we
there
don't.
a hidden cost here for using you?
No, we don't charge any commissions at all to our customers. The account management is completely free. The transfers are completely free. We have it arranged with our partner banks in the back end who pay us for our services, but that will not affect the customer's return on their interest. And like I said, the account maintenance is completely free.
Okay, and then on account maintenance, customer support, I think, is a big thing. You've mentioned that it's only online, which for some people may be an issue, for others it may not. But what type of customer support is there? I mean, is your relationship with Raisin, or is it with the bank that you ultimately save in?
Yeah, I think it's probably the most important thing about what we do is making sure that we are there for our customers, and it's something that we're very conscious of and we're trying to constantly improve. The relationship is with Raisin. So we are that's the whole idea of the platform, is that you open one account and you get access to these 18 banks in Ireland's case. We're not asking customers to go running around Europe, finding phone numbers for head offices. If you have an issue, you come to Raisin. In terms of what we offer, customer service, you can email us at service@raisin.ie. You can give us a message through your Raisin account. There's an inbuilt messaging service there. And also we do have a dedicated Irish phone line, which is open from 11 till 3, Monday to Friday. So you will get someone at the other end of the line who you can talk to, an actual human.
Okay.
And I think that's very important for us. We're still in the process of, improving our customer service. That's, we're very cognizant of that. But we feel like we're making progress. And like you said,
No AI chatbots just yet.
No, not yet. I'm not in the pipeline either.
Bonkers.ie is a one-stop shop for saving on all your household bills. Switch and save today across a range of energy, broadband, banking and insurance products with our free, easy-to-use tool.
Without getting too complicated, tax implications, because in Ireland, whether our listeners know it or not, but in Ireland, in most cases, if you save with an Irish bank, you don't need to worry about deposit interest retention tax, because the government, rightly or wrongly or handily or not, depending on what your perspective is, will take that money before it even reaches your account. Is that the same when you save and invest through Raisin?
No, so we don't take tax at source. That's very important to point out. Neither us or our partner banks will take tax at source. So the customer will put in their €10,000 and they will receive their gross interest in most cases. So I'll go to the case where they get the gross first,
Okay,
okay? Which of course means they get all of their interest into their Raisin account. In that case, so for example, if we look at one of our French banks, for example, France doesn't charge withholding tax to people who are domiciled outside of France. So the French bank will pay you your full interest, and then it's up to you in your annual tax return to revenue to declare that interest, and revenue will then take 33% off that. So that's the straightforward option, I suppose we call it. There is other scenarios for Spain, for example, where you have to fill out a form that Raisin will provide you to bring that withholding tax down from 19% to 0%. And people have to be cognizant that they need to sign this paperwork on time. They need to get it to Raisin, but it's I think people should do their bit of research on the site as well if they're interested, because it's really not that onerous. And the tax return you can do through your PAYE anytime now. It's all online. Of course, if people have doubts, we'd always recommend that they get the advice of a tax advisor. But I would like to point out to people that it's not as onerous as they might think, because like I touched on a little bit of research we did, it was surprising how many people that was the doubts that they had.
Yeah.
And I'd like to sort of get that message out there.
It's like anything to with tax. I think sometimes people just go running, which is crazy because it's your money. I mean, we see it all the time every January where we talk about people trying to get, tax that they're due on maybe medical fees or tuition fees, and so much of it goes unclaimed because people are afraid to do it. And in fairness to revenue, it's one thing that the government actually does really, really well. I know even like foreigners will often comment how easy it is to claim back tax in Ireland and to deal with revenue. So I suppose that is something to highlight, that it's not, like you said, as onerous, but there is obviously a little bit of extra work involved.
There is, and I think to give people a little bit of peace of mind is all of our banks are domiciled in countries that have double tax treaties with Ireland. So at no point will you be hit with a double tax bill. That's something, a lot of feedback I've gotten from customers of Raisin Ireland, that they would say, oh, what if I get charged 33% by revenue and then 20% by... No, it'll be capped at 33% because those double tax treaties are live in every country we operate in. So that's a little bit of peace of mind there as well.
Very good. To just make sure that you do the
Yeah, well, look, that's the people have to do it on time, do it correctly, and then there'll be no issues.
And why do you think, perhaps you kind of touched on it, do you think Irish people have been quite hesitant to move their money so far? Because at the moment we have around 150 billion resting on deposits. Now, of course, we don't know how evenly that is spread. It seems like a huge amount of money, and it's important to highlight that there's probably, 20-30% of households who have no savings. But collectively as a country, we have a record number of savings, but about 80% to 90% of the money is still in accounts in Ireland that pay practically little to no interest. Yeah. People haven't been going after the better rates of interest. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it is. It's a startling number, because if you look at the EU average, it's 55% in low interest accounts. We're at nearly 90, as you mentioned. So I don't want, I don't want to go into, generalizing about a whole population, but at the same time, there's obviously a trend there. And I do think it is just people, take me for an example, up until a few years ago, I had the same bank account since I started university, and maybe people just either, like I've touched on earlier, aren't aware, are apprehensive, or have just find it easier to have it all in one place. And that's one thing I think Raisin really want to point out to people, is that you don't have to switch accounts to open a Raisin bank account. It's an add-on, so you can open an account, and like I said, you can transfer your money from your Irish account. We're not asking people to close down their Irish bank accounts and open a German bank account. It's just a way to make more money for your savings. And I think people in Ireland, are starting to see the trend. I saw that we've moved 8 billion into term deposits since the start of 2024. Which is, not...
And is that as a whole of rates, or just in
No,
Ireland?
sorry, that's the Irish.
Wow.
Irish savers have done that. So people are waking up and realising, and maybe it's the messaging from people like yourself who are saying, rates aren't going to stay high forever, so take advantage of them now. But there is a definite shift, but I think we do have a long way to go. Because I think it's 100, what was the number that we missed out on last year? Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it was in the billions that we missed out on.
3.5 billion. We actually did some research as well at bonkers.ie. When you look at what, if everyone were to move their money, collectively, the country is missing out on 3.5 billion in interest a year. And that's just one of the reasons why the banks are so profitable. The main Irish banks like PTSB and Bank of Ireland, because they increased their mortgage rates in line with the ECB, and then they eventually increased their deposit rates, but no one actually put their money into these accounts. I mean, under pressure, AIB and PTSB started offering 3%, a little bit above, but people just didn't go after the higher rates of interest, which just kind of seems bizarre. But hopefully that is, like you say, is beginning to change, and people, if they listen to this podcast, they might, do something with their money.
It seems to be, and I think it's important, Dara, to point out as well that deposits by their nature are one of the safest financial products out there. So albeit people might be apprehensive, deposits are backed up by the deposit guarantee scheme. Whether they decide to move their money to Raisin Bank or move it to somewhere else, people, should be looking for alternatives, because if you're missing out on any amount of money in a year that was essentially free money, it's a pity, I think.
Yeah, and just missing out. We're recording this now in September, and the ECB has just cut interest rates for the second time. So rates are beginning to fall. Where do you see yourself personally interest rates going? What impact do you think that might have on the market?
Yeah, well, look, we reached the top of the proverbial mountain a couple of months back. I think the ECB, they've made their cuts. They're keeping their cards quite close to their chest, and they keep mentioning that magic number of 2% inflation. But I think the writings on the wall slightly, by most commentators would agree, that we're expecting another rate cut. Most banks have probably written it in that it's going to be in December. Whether or not there'll be another interim cut in October, who knows? But I think it's safe to say that it will start to come down. Now, having said that, I don't think we're going anywhere near what we saw,
negative interest
exactly,
rates and stuff,
people get 0% and that type of thing. But I would encourage people to keep an eye on those headlines, because those higher rates, they're not going to come tumbling down, but they're also going to come down. And if you want to lock in your money for 12 months at a rate of, say, off the top of my head, 3.5%, that 3.5% might not be there in January.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about it, visit Raisin.ie.
like we do. No, but it really is true, and it kind of bears repeating. Sometimes we don't know what we had until it's gone, and I think people have been a little bit lax. And I think for so long rates were so low that people didn't bother looking for a better return on their money, because they thought there wasn't a better return out there. But then there was, and now just as people are beginning to move their money, unfortunately rates are beginning to fall again. There's winners and losers. Obviously, falling rates is good if you're looking to take out a mortgage. If you have a tracker mortgage, it's not so great if you're a saver. But yeah, I think, to people who are listening, if you have a bit of money, look at getting those higher rates while they're still there. We did some research. I don't know if you've backed this up, but certainly in Ireland, there seems to be a hesitancy for people to lock their money away. But I mean, I think on Raisin, some of your terms are quite short. I mean, sometimes I think people think they're going to be locking away their money for 10 years. It could be, what are some of the terms?
Yeah, so we start like I said, we have two types of deposits: term deposit and demand deposit. Term deposit, you are committing to a term, but that goes from 3 months to 5 years.
It's nothing really.
So 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you blink and 3 months is over. You will generally get better rates from a term deposit, and of course, if you say you're going to earn €100 interest, you're going to get that €100 interest at the end before tax, of course. But demand deposits do offer flexibility, and we have some really competitive offers. We have 5 demand deposits on our platform at the moment, really competitive, and they give you the flexibility of being able to get your money whenever you need it. So if people are worried about something that might be coming up and they just don't want to, keep themselves lying awake at night thinking, oh my God, my money's locked away, we do have demand deposits. And I really do think we have something for everyone on the platform.
And with those demand deposits, as you said, you can save from as little as €10
€1, yeah. Oh, there's no minimum.
Okay.
So you could open that demand deposit for €1 and leave it at that. And then if you decide to lob in €20,000 any given day, you can do that as well. So it's all about flexibility for those ones.
And then finally, is there anything in the pipeline, any exciting developments that Raisin is doing at the moment?
Yeah, well, look, I think I might take this opportunity to do a little bit of a look back, if that's okay. Because 2024 has been quite a year of growth for the Irish platform, Raisin Bank Ireland especially. So we launched our app. We've added 11 new banks. Like, as you can see, what I'm saying here, we're in a growth period, and we're really, really trying to up the ante. So we are going to keep continuing to add banks. We have 18 now. We've got plenty more in the pipeline from countries around Europe. And I think Raisin as a whole, we entered profitability for the first time in 2022. And that's something that I think the company is growing. The company is in a really good place. And I think the Irish platform will grow in line with that.
And I would say as well, the banks and the offers do change relatively frequently. So I mean, if you log on one day and there isn't maybe an offer that quite piques your interest, you could go back again in maybe a week or two. And of course, we have Raisin products on bonkers.ie as well, so people can kind of compare those products to the rest of the market. But they do seem to change relatively frequently, the banks.
They do. Offer. Like, we are a savings marketplace. That's what we do. So our partner banks are the ones setting the rates. And if you've got 18 banks on one platform, of course, they'll change quite regularly. Over the last few months, we've had a good mix of decreases, but also being matched with increases. So keep an eye on it if you're a customer. Like I said, the account's free. Log in, say, okay, I'm happy with that one. Think about it, come back and see if it's still there. Might have gone up, could go down. But keep an eye on the platform, because there is lots of change. Exactly, yes.
Okay, Eoghan, thank you very much for coming over from Germany to have a chat with us today.
My pleasure.
So I hope that answers any questions you have about the savings platform Raisin. And remember, on bonkers.ie, you can compare savings rates across all providers, including Raisin, in just minutes. The good news is that we're currently running a special offer with Raisin. If you sign up to Raisin, you will receive bonus interest of €75. Just head to the bonkers.ie blog for more information.